Hello everyone. It is August 23rd, 2022. My name is Brenda and my channel is Handwork Maniac. Welcome. I have 3 cross stitch finishes. I worked on lots of cross stitch projects that I'll show you since the last time I made a video. I have some stitchy kindness and then I have some plans. All right, 3 finishes. This one is Mill Hill. It's the Floral Fantasy series. It's Mill Hill and Debbie Mum. And there are 4 in the series, and this is Floral Yellow 2. It does have, it came with 14 count yellow Aida to stitch it on, and I chose to stitch it on an opalescent 28 count even weave. That's kind of a light yellow called Chime, and it does have beads. Not sure if you'll be able to see them. Lots of pretty beads. It was so fun to stitch and just gorgeous. This is a Mill Hill frame, and I have it sitting in my office, over on the side table in my office. I just think it's lovely. Makes me happy when I look at it. This one is by Pine Mountain. August Snapshot. I did it on 32 count fabric, 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads with the called for DMC. And this is also in my office. They have one for every month. Not sure I'll keep up, but I'm trying to. I'm doing these with my sister-in-law, Debbie. She's also stitching them. We're having fun. But that one was a fun one. I love how they're like little photos of like your photos of your summer vacation. And then my 4th finish is 4 Seasons Summer, one of the Petites by Erica Michaels. It's charted to stitch on 40 count gauze, but I stitched it on 40 count even weave instead, Verdal. I did a tent stitch. I used the called for threads, 1 strand of floss over 1 fabric thread on 40 count Verdal. And it's just so tiny. I had to do a tent stitch. There's just not enough room for a full cross. But it is just beautiful. I love it. But it is the tiniest little thing. There are, she has 3 other seasons to go with it. Spring, winter, and autumn. I would like to stitch them all eventually. Not sure if I'll do it right away. But that was fun to stitch. I wanted to try over 1 on 40 count Verdal, and it was easy to see, I felt like. I like the even weave when you're doing over 1 on a tiny count like that. And it was, I enjoyed stitching it. I like how it turned out. Okay, let's move on to Works in Progress, WIP, WIPs. I worked on lots of things. I think it's been almost a month since I last showed you the projects that I worked on. This is Sleeping Princess by Mirabilia. This was one of my WIP Go calls for August, so I got 12 hours in on it. Mine is on 32 count Water Lily. You probably remember that my daughter Catherine finished this part up here for me for my birthday and Mother's Day. And then I have been working on this section down here. And I still have all of this to go. It's a big one, but it'll be fun to do all those colored mattresses. They're so pretty. Called for DMC, 2 strands of floss over 2 fabric threads. This one is Kingdom of Books. It's a Russian kit. This name of this kit company translates to make it with your own hands. I'm not using the kit fabric. It came with 14 count white Aida, I believe. I'm using an 18 count over dyed Aida, and I'm not stitching this woodwork that is behind here, and I'm not stitching all of this wooden shelf underneath, just a little bit of it to create an anchoring shadow, and a little bit of the background just around the houses to show off the white detail so it pops. Doing this with my friend Sharon. We do about a half of a book a month. We figure it'll take us 3 years. And it has been a year and a half. Made it, we started here on the end, made it to the middle. I did this part up here this last month. August is supposed to be inside of these gates, but this middle part is takes a lot longer than a half of a book. So Sharon and I are struggling to keep up. So Sharon, I'm just telling you right now, I think that we should postpone this until the end of September. Just move it back a month. I vote for that. The titles in the kit are in Russian. A friend of mine translated them to English for me. And all of the titles are talking about subjects and places in the Netherlands. So I believe that this is a picture of, the artist meant it to look like the houses along the canal in the Netherlands, the tall skinny houses. And then I used my friend's translation and translated the books into English so that I know what they are about. I wish I spoke Russian, but I don't. Or Dutch. Using the kit floss, 2 strands of floss over 1 square, Aida square on 18 count. This is Summer Montage. It's a Janlin kit. Artwork is by Janet Stever. There is a full coverage version of this put out by Paine Free Crafts, P-A-I-N-E. Several of my friends are doing the full coverage version. Colette the Highway Stitcher, Stitchin' Mommy. I know there's several others. I decided to do this kit version, but I liked the colors. I really like the colors in the full color version. This is the full color version. This is the kit version. I love these what do you call that? Tans in the background. I like this color palette better than this one. This is the same color palette, it just has a different background. Or they're at least very similar. So I decided, this one I knew I would never finish 4 of all 4 seasons on these huge full coverage ones, so I decided to do the kit ones. These are gorgeous, but I just decided to do the kit ones. But I decided to do some hand dye my own fabric so that the background would be more like this color. So I'm using the kit floss again, because why not? And then I'm using 36 count linen that I dyed myself with RIT dye, marigold. And I finished the watermelon section. It looks just like watermelon. It makes me want to eat some watermelon. I do not have the other piece of fabric in here, or I'd show it to you. I started with a tan piece of 36 count linen, and then I used marigold RIT dye. If you go back to when I started the spring one in April, I believe, in that video I explained exactly how I dyed the fabric. 2 strands of the kit floss over 2 linen threads on 36 count. All right, as you may remember, Deanna at Cherry Hill Stitchery sent me this pattern and the floss and the fabric to stitch it, and she also sent me another one for me to share with you guys. So I had a giveaway and we had a winner, and that's in the mail now, and I have started mine. It's called Bumble Honey Company by Cherry Hill Stitchery. Calls for DMC. Her paper patterns that are the cardboard, it's a cardboard paper pattern, are available through, you can order it through your local needlework store or an online store that carries paper patterns. I've seen it on 123 Stitch, Fat Quarter Shop. There's a couple of Etsy stores that sell paper patterns that carried it, I noticed last time I looked. But it is not available on her Etsy store as a PDF. But she has a very similar one in her Etsy store that you can get as a PDF that looks like this. That is really cute and very similar. So if you really want a PDF, this is a great choice. Cherry Hill Stitchery, she has an Etsy store where she sells her PDF designs. This one is only available, I believe, in the paper copy, which you would need to order from someone who sells paper copies. And this is what I have so far. It's on 56 count antique white linen, 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads with the called for DMC. I think it is so cute. So it'll just be a tiny little thing. I'm going to make it into a tiny little pillow. This one is a Stitch for All Seasons Summer by Little Dove Designs. I started this last summer in July, so I've been working on it for a little over a year. It is stitched on 40 Count Seaside Melody by Silk Weaver. And I am close to a finish. I just have this top section left to go and a little bit left on this section. I love these little VW buses. There's a banner across the top that says summer, and I love the fruit and the fruit drink, the plants. This has been such a fun one to work on. Look at that little camper van. So fun. I'm hoping to finish this one in before the next video. This is My Home in the Garden by Hello from Liz Matthews. There's a group of us doing this as a stitch along. And several of you I know are stitching it. The hashtag is Garden Stitching SAL. We'd love to see if you post a picture with that hashtag, I'd love to see your progress on Instagram. Colette, the Highway Stitcher, is the fearless leader of our stitch along. We divided it into 12 sections and we've been trying to get through one section a month. We started it in October, last October, and we're hoping to have it finished by this October when we go to Stitch West. And I am happy to report that I did get caught up. Colette and Kim will be interested to know that I did catch up. I'm using a 40 count alabaster with the called for Gloriana silks, 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads, 1/2. And this beautiful section right here with these trees is what I worked on this last month. Get to do the beautiful house this month. I'm in 3 stitch-alongs this year. The third one is By the Bay Needle Arts Home Sweet Home. This one started last November, and she releases 1 section a month. I just did this middle one right here. This is 46 count vintage by Be Stitch Me. Called for DMC threads, 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads. And we just have 3 more to go. This was a Mania piece in March. I started it in January or February, but I decided to make it one of my Mania pieces in March as well. I usually include some WIPs in my Mania lineup. This is a kit by RTO, and the name of the kit is Roasted Chicken with Potatoes. I love the look on their faces. And I just love the colors, the bright colors in this. The kit came with 16 count Aida. I decided to do it on 36 count even weave. 2 strands of floss over 2 fabric threads. And this is where I am so far, except I need something white. Maybe this will work better. There we go. Just starting on that chicken's face. There's just a rainbow of colors in there. Purples and blues and reds and pinks and yellows. It's a fun one to work on. I am using the kit floss on that one. This is M Designs, letters A and B. I'm just doing the B for Brenda. It's on 56 count antique white linen using 100. The company is Soie d'Alger, and the product is 100/3 silk in black. Full cross. And that, I believe, is all the projects I worked on since the last time I showed you my progress on my projects. I have one piece of Stitchy Kindness from my brother Walter. This is a house for my wee village that he made for me on his 3D printer. He designed it and printed it on his 3D printer. He said that it is a stitching store, and the name of the store is Abomination, which made me laugh. I think that's so cute. And he made it so that the lid comes off. And he is encouraging me to put a solar light inside. He made the window and the door thin so that when I put a light inside, it will shine through. I just think that is the coolest thing. I can't wait to put a light in it and put it out into my wee village. Thank you, Walter. All right, plans. I believe I told you last time that I have 52 WIPs, works in progress. This is a magnet board where I keep track of all my projects. They're just little strip. You can buy magnets in a roll. Like you can cut it into pieces off of a roll. Or you can buy it like it comes as a business card size. This one I've cut some of this off, but it's a business card size, and then it's sticky on one side. I just cut it up with scissors to make little strips. And then I write on there the name of the project and the day that I started it. It just helps me keep track of all of my mini projects, which right now is 52. But 52 is not a happy number for me in particular. Everybody has their own number that they're comfortable with, and I'm not comfortable with 52. And this is always, every year, this time of year, we get close to the end of the year. I think, oh, how many can I finish by the end of the year? How many I need to get my WIP count down. I don't know what it is, but that's just what I start thinking this time of year. So I was really hoping to get a whole bunch finished by the end of the year. And I was thinking, would there be any way possible to get it under 30, to get it to like 29 by the end of the year? So I was looking and I moved everything over here that I thought maybe an outside chance I could possibly finish by the end of the year. And it just happened to be that if I finished 23 of them, then over here would only be left 29. And then I realized that it was 20, counted them up, it was 23 projects by 2023. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, my problem is that I know that I'm starting about 5 more projects before the end of the year. There's autumn montage, winter montage. As soon as we finish the My Home in the Garden stitch along, we're going to stitch down Sunshine Lane as our stitch along by the drawn thread. Yes. So I know I'm starting that one. And then I'm going to the Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat, and I'll probably start one there. And I'm going to Stitch West, and I'll probably start one there. So I'm not sure how I'm going to count those 5. I'm just not sure. Anyway, I just don't think there's any way possible I could finish these 23 plus 5 more so that I could be under 30 by the end of the year. So I want to finish these 23 projects by the end of the year. I've come up with a hashtag, Frenzy of Finishes 2020, no, just 23. Frenzy of Finishes 23. Because I have 23 projects that I want to finish by 2023. And this is my list of the ones I want to finish. These ones that are on little tiny round magnets, that just means they're small projects. And then my friend Shauna of Shauna Marie Stitches, her YouTube channel, said, well, then that means you can't start anything else. And basically all the rest of your projects are in craft prison because you're only going to have time to work on these. So I was like, oh, you're right. I can't work on any of these. I will still work on Kingdom of Books to keep up on that one. The other 2 stitch-alongs will be finished, one in October and one in November, so they're over here. But there's probably a couple more over here that I'll work on at some point, like my Christmas Afghan and before the end of the year. But for the most part, I want to focus on these 23 and see how many of them I can get done by the end of the year. I'm very excited about that. So hopefully you can help cheer me on and keep track of me. And I'll show you this board every time I make a video, and we'll look and see how many of these are left. In case you want to freeze frame and see what projects I have listed on there. And yes, all the planets would have to align just perfectly for me to actually finish all 23 of these. But I'm going to try to see how many of them I can get done. And I think, oh, this is just it's cardboard on the back, but it's metal on the front. I bought it at Walmart, so magnets stick to it. And I think that's everything. It has been a crazy couple of weeks at school. School started last week. I work at a public junior high in the front office. I'm the administrative secretary. And that first few weeks in August is always just a sprint for me until that. There's so many things that have to be done before the first day of school for me because I do a lot of the organizing. So things are starting to calm down. I'm finally starting to feel, get excited for autumn and get some stitching done and not be so tired all the time. Excited for autumn. That is my favorite season, and so excited for the Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat that's coming up in September and Stitch West in October. Looking forward to those, and just fall in general. Fall stitching. I love fall. And watching BYU football. Love watching BYU football and stitching. So I will see you in another couple of weeks when I do an update. Bye-bye.